I went on to university and tried to study, but I loved the freedom. I went away from home for university, and it was my first time alone and on my own and making friends and meeting new people, and I loved that. And I really couldn't care less about studying anything. Besides, I wasn't being a doctor anyway. I was studying philosophy and English and things that just came naturally as a hobby to me. I would read the dictionary for fun because, there was not many people that I could relate to. But at university it was different. I found myself gravitating towards people and people gravitating towards me, and I had fun. And that didn't last long because I wasn't studying, so I dropped out after a year and went back home. And the pressure and the failure and now everyone's seeing me as something's wrong with me and I'm crazy, which I got told quite a lot growing up, that I was crazy and there was something wrong with me, which is something to note for what happens down the line, just soon after this. I got the usual jobs, nothing too serious. I worked at a pharmacy, I worked at a video store, and at that time I had reconnected with some high school friends, and which wasn't really good for me. The same high school friends that I got involved with after I went off the rails when I was 16, but not due to drugs or anything like that. It was more due to alcohol. We would drive around drunk and get into fights. I couldn't fight, but my friend was a big fighter, and she would pick fights even with men and throw people down the stairs and things like that. And I felt like I needed that kind of protection around me, and she was someone I knew if anything happened to me, she had my back. But she got me involved in things and situations where I had to have hers, if you know what I mean, because she would get into fights a lot. And I was not doing as well as what she was in the real world. I hadn't found my place. I hadn't found like a good job, and for some reason in my family, if you weren't a CEO by the time you were out of high school, then there was something wrong with you. You weren't earning enough money, you weren't doing as well as so-and-so's children, and so-and-so is driving a BMW, and so-and-so's looking so beautiful, and so-and-so is so thin, and so-and-so has a boyfriend, and so-and-so is getting married. And when you're 20 years old and you're just trying to find your way, and so-and-so is doing so well, the pressure gets heavy. And so one day after visiting my friend, I had a few drinks and I was really depressed, and I went home and I just ate all the medicine that I could find in the cabinet and hoped to die, and lay down on my bed and put on some sad music and waited for the pulse to kick in. And as I was losing consciousness, I guess my body reacted and told me to get up, which my body got up, and I drove my car. By this stage, I wasn't really, I can remember everything, but I wasn't feeling anything. I was numb. And I drove to my friend's house, which was just up the road, so it wasn't far at all. And when I reached her, my lips were turning blue, and although she was asking me what's happened, I couldn't speak, but she took me to the hospital. And the first hospital we arrived at, it's a public hospital in South Africa. They told us to wait in line. And I remember her freaking out and saying, shouting at the staff to get someone to help me because we couldn't afford to wait in line. So she drove me to a private hospital, which actually costs money. And if you haven't figured by now, money has always been somewhat of a thing in our family. And so she drove me to a private hospital, and they pumped my stomach, called my parents, and blah, blah, blah. My mother said when she arrived that if my friend wasn't there, I would have called her. My dad said that on the way there, he promised to stop smoking if I'd live. And then after that, I went to an institution, you could say. It was called Tara. And I was in the depressive ward with a whole bunch of people that had tried to kill themselves. And we had one guy from a criminally insane institute. He had just been released, and so he had come to that institution. I don't know what he did. He actually ended up marrying one of the girls there, and they had children together and whatever. But yeah, I met a whole bunch of people and actually connected with them. There was a 50-year-old woman, she was in there. There was a 17-year-old girl, an 18-year-old girl, a 19-year-old girl. There was a 45-year-old man. We'd do group therapy sessions, and I don't know, it was a nice relief, I guess. They wanted to give us medications. Most of the people were on medication, and I refused medication. They did all these tests on me, and finally got to prove to my family I wasn't crazy. There was nothing wrong with me. There was nothing. They made me do a sleep deprivation test. They made me go to psychologists. They made me do all these things while I was staying there, and I stayed there for a month. And there was nothing wrong with me. So, yeah, that was a bit of a vindication. But it didn't change my circumstance much. So after that, and one thing I must mention, while I was in there, we had a lot of fun. We would watch TV together, and we would eat together, and then the girls, because the girls and boys are separated, right? So the girls, all of us, so like the 55-year-old woman, she was a housewife. Her son was like our age and stuff. Well, my age at that time, I was 22, I think. And then we would sneak out, and we would go into the like living room area where we would watch TV, and we would play Glassy. Now I don't know if you know what that is, but it's like a Ouija board kind of thing. We would play that. We played it once, and then other fun things we did was I would paint jeans and like wear them. Like I've always been artistic, and it's a natural gift, so I've just always drawn and painted, and so I would paint jeans and stuff like that. And my hair was shaved at that time because prior to attempting suicide, I decided to shave my hair. I don't know, as a protest to being not seen again, not being seen, not being heard. And so I got along with the people there, and then I left and kind of hung out after we had left, because we all left at the same time, but things got weird again. My high school friend and I, again, we were just trying to make money. Our parents were obsessed with money and being rich. And if you weren't rich, you were nothing. At least that's the impression we got, right? Like, why are you eating the food in the fridge? Why are you fat? Why are you ugly? Why are you not married? Why are you not earning millions? Like, they really just wanted us to get out the house and be done with us. At least that's the impression we got. So one day my high school friend and I, we saw an advertisement for basically a prostitute. An Italian prince was in town in South Africa, and we were told to go to Sandton, which is a very upmarket shopping mall, but it's like got restaurants and bars and nightclubs, and it's like a complex. You can even there's apartments in some of that area as well and stuff. So we were asked to go to Santon, and if we were chosen by the prince, we would get 30,000 rand, which was like $3,000. And for a 22-year-old, that's a lot of money. So we decided to go, and we went there, and we bodyguards, the prince's bodyguards came out and looked at all the women. There were about 20 of us, and kind of didn't say anything. They just actually sat in a separate room and then looked at us through this glass window. And my hair was still growing out, and I was wearing like a pantsuit, and my friend from high school was wearing like this really tight black dress, a short black dress and stuff. And we started speaking to these other two girls that were there, and one of them was already a prostitute, and the other one was like a masseuse and stuff. And so we were talking, and we were actually having fun and forgot about the whole thing. And they told us we could go, so we went. And we ended up going to buy coke, and we got cocaine, and then we went back to this girl's house, the masseuse's house, and waited for her husband because she wanted to have a threesome with her husband and me and her, which we proceeded to do. And we were high on coke, and I had a threesome with her and her husband. And then I got a phone call from the prince's bodyguard saying that he would like me to come to the prince's place, but I needed to change my outfit because they don't like the pants that I was wearing, and could I wear a dress, a short dress. So my friend, my high school friend, she gave me her short black dress, and then we drove back to the Santon where we were to meet the prince's bodyguards and stuff. And then we were so high on coke that we just couldn't get there. We ended up driving around and around and got kind of lost, and went back to this woman's house and just stayed up all night because that's what coke does to you. And so after that, we kind of stopped seeing each other for a while. My friend had confessed to me that she was really sorry for hitting me, because my high school friend, in her rage, she hit me, and she like wrote really nasty things about me. And yeah, so she apologized for that. And then after that night, we didn't really speak much. I didn't speak to anyone really. And then I got a job as a waitress, and I decided to go to London because my sister, she left home. She left to go to London when she was 18. She's 1 year older than me. So I decided to go to London, and she was living in Ireland at the time. She had moved. And the next boyfriend of mine from university actually contacted me again out of the blue, and he said he was going to London. So it was like, oh wow, I'm going to London. So I was really excited, and yeah, my next adventure was in London.
When you're deep diving at the bottom of the ocean, you go alone at the bottom of the ocean. Finding joy unbound at the bottom of the ocean. When you're deep diving at the bottom of the ocean. To breathe underwater like me. You learn to breathe like the underwater sandy floors, sand that crawls at the bottom of the ocean. I saw it all at the bottom of the ocean. When you're deep diving at the bottom of the ocean.